Hi, welcome to Splash Games and Family Board Game Friday. Today I'm going to give you a tour of my game room. I've given a tour of my game room before, but so many things have changed. I've changed out a lot of my games and added a few more things to my game room, so I wanted to do a new tour. If you want to purchase any of the things that are in my game room or any of the games that I show you, make sure to check out our Amazon store to support our channel. The first half of this video will be a tour of my game room and all the things that I did in the game room. And then the second half will be a tour and a look at all my games that I have. So here we go. All right, so this is the outside of my game room. I have this sign, Let's Play. It's made of wood, and my husband works in construction. Sometimes we get stuff from the model homes, and they just happen to have this sign that I was able to take. So I thought it fit perfectly up there. On the door, I have this little hitch because I have grandkids, and it helps keep the door locked easily. I think it's called a monkey latch. I'll have it on my Amazon store so you guys can check it out. I love it because it's super easy to use. And here is my game room. I'll go through everything as well here in a second. So let's start at the first. These are the photographs from Yellow, the board game company. And they had a contest for their calendar, photo contest where you put a piece of their game in a scene. And so I went to San Francisco, the Golden Gate, and I brought their Gigazar, put him out, and that won the cover. And then I took a little piece from the mysterious forest and put it in a little forest scene, and that won one of the pages inside. And I think I won like $250 in games from Yellow, so that was amazing. Here are what my game shelves look like. They all are in sections of mechanics. So here's all my worker and dice placement. I just bought these from the craft store, and my husband drilled little holes in them for me. And then I cricketed with the Cricut machine all the words on there. So I have those all over the room. I've got these boxes up here. I have dice and decks, where I have a bunch of extra dice and all my regular decks of cards in there. Bands, boxes, and bags. That's the one I get into the most because I have all my rubber bands in there. I have big ones and little ones, and then I have all my boxes. The favorite boxes that I have are just from the dollar store. And and I usually get my bags just from Walmart in the bead section. So yeah, I like these square boxes better from the dollar store because they stack better. But if they don't have those, I'll usually use the circular ones, but I use these all the time. I also got these ones from Amazon, and I like them because they have lids. And yeah, it's nice to have lids, and I don't like the lids attached, so I really like these. And then the last box is markers and miscellaneous. Of course, I'm always looking for dry erase markers for all my roll and write games. And then I have miscellaneous stuff like lost pieces and also timers and other stuff. So yeah, lots of miscellaneous stuff in here. Okay, coming down to this shelf. My friend Kate made me this. I love it so much. It's our family in Scrabble letters. So Blair, our last name, and then me and my husband and all our kids. So I just think it's great. I used to play Scrabble a lot with my dad, so I just love it. All right. Every Christmas we have a pitch car championship. We play a big round of pitch car with all the adults, and this is the award they get. Blair Family Pitch Car Championship. And who the winners are. Tyler won again this year, and I haven't got him another plate for 2013.
23, so I still need to order that. And then my friend Andrea got me this dice, and I keep all my score sheets and pencils in here. If I ever need to score anything for a game, I just come in here, and yeah, there's my score sheets in there. All right, and here's my Babe Cave sign. Love that, because this is the Babe Cave. So here's where I store all my play mats. As you can tell, my room's pretty girly. My girls are like, why are you doing so much pink? I think it's because when I started looking at other people's game rooms, they were always full of minifigures and super, masculine. And I just wanted to make it fun and kind of girly. So yeah, here's my play mats. Splendor, Century, Cartographers, Champions of Midgard, Atlantis Rising, Equinox. I do have a plain playmat. I'm not sure where that ended up. But yeah, that is where I store my playmats. All right, on this shelf, I have my Arboretum award that I won. I won an Arboretum tournament. It was during COVID, actually, and they had Gen Con online, and they had an Arboretum tournament, and I actually won. So I was the Gen Con 2020 first place winner of Arboretum tournament. I'd actually never played, and I don't know, I just tried it out. I ended up winning like $200 worth of games from Renegade Games, and yeah, I love Renegade Games. So yeah, that's my Arboretum award. I have a clock, a sand timer. I have this, my best friend Andrea and we love playing games. And we just made it a joke, and she has a key to this and I have a key to it on our key ring. So I can't get into the chocolate unless she's here. And she can't get into it until she comes. So yeah, we have our little chocolate jar with our keys that when she's here, we can get into our chocolate. And that's usually full of chocolate and fun for when she comes over to play games with me. All right, I have a book of my cons, and it's sort of a scrapbook of all the cons I've been to. Every year, me and my cousin and our friends go to a board game convention. And so I do a little page of each con. So this is Origins 2018. Who joined me? What I won or was gifted, what I bought and what I got, and just some fun memories at the bottom. So we've done SaltCon, Dice Tower West we've been to twice. So yeah, we're hoping to go to Gen Con next year. That will be really fun. So yeah. So here are some coasters. I don't like my table getting marks on it, so I made some coasters. You could probably guess what games they're from. Some of my top 10 games. Here's me and my husband's top 10 board games ever. This list actually has changed. I'll let you have a look at it, but it has changed. So in the next month or so, I'm hoping to do my top 100 games. So you'll kind of see how this has changed, because this is probably like 3 years old. So I need to change this up. But you'll see there's a bunch of tiles in here with letters on them, so I can change it out. And yeah, my husband built this for me. It's amazing. The best board games ever. Yeah, I love it. All right, here's probably my favorite part of my board game room. My great grandfather was a silverer. He made this really cool mirror. Kind of just really organic looking, but yeah, my great grandfather. And then this is also from my other great grandfather. I'm not sure if you can see it. It's a cribbage board, and it says C. DeLucia for Carmen DeLucia, the 7th of June, 1914. Yeah, he made this cribbage board, and then it has this drawer inside of it that has all the cribbage stuff in it. And yeah, I love it. All right, my friend Angel gave me this girl. I just love her so much. The problem was she was a chocolate themed, and it had like a fudgesicle on there, which I don't even like fudgesicles. I mean, I love chocolate. It also had an apple with chocolate, which sounded weird to me. So I just redid the whole girl, and she has all my favorite things on there instead. So I have a meeple, a glass meeple from, Rada's wife. She makes glass, and I got that from her at a convention. And my scriptures, the Book of Mormon and the Bible, my favorite books. I'm a very religious person. And music, I was a music major at school. And my family, my 5 kids, and my little grandbabies, 3 girls, and a baseball for my little grandson that was just born. And photography, as you can tell, I love photography. So yeah, I turned this girl into what I like. But I'll put a link in the comments where you can get these. I just think they're so cool looking. All right, my dice trays. My husband made this for me. Yeah, he makes me mostly whatever I want. He spoils me. But I wanted a dice tray holder that was the size of the dice tray, so that's amazing. My son thought I had so many games, I needed a game of the week so that I could try new games all the time so we didn't play all the same ones. So I got this sign from Hobby Lobby and I sanded over it, and I don't know what was on that side, but here's Don't Forget You're Awesome. There was something else on this side, but I sanded it down, painted it, and then I cricketed Game of the Week on there. So I always have a Game of the Week, and Archeo Society's been up there about 3 weeks. But we are going to play it. Right here is my board game bag. I love it so much. I use it all the time for my traveling of my board games. The game canopy. It can be a backpack, or you can just use the handle, which is what I do. It has the short handles too with some Velcro. You can carry it like that. It's got these pockets on both sides for small games, and then on the inside, you can fit games as big as Planet Unknown. Barely. I did put it in here, and it did shut last time I was going somewhere. And you can also put taller games like Concordia fits when it's tall. Yeah. So yeah, I use this a lot when I go to my ladies' game night, when I'm traveling, the game canopy. All right, up here, my brother Jared got me this sign queen that totally goes with this game room. And I used to play chess with my dad all the time, so yeah, I love that. I found this sheet film holder. It holds film. My grandfather and my father were both photographers for a living, and I ended up with this from my dad, and it's used to keep film in for old cameras, but I didn't want to throw it away, and so I made a sign out of it. So many board games, so little time. And here's our light switch for my amazing light. I'll post the link to it on Amazon. I wanted a fan in here, but I just don't like the look of fans. The fan comes out when you want it, and it's super powerful, and you can turn it up or down. You can turn the light up and down. Yeah, I really love it. I'll post a link down to it. I wouldn't put this in a normal bedroom because it takes a while to turn on and it beeps. You can tell it takes a minute and it beeps. So I would never want this in a regular room, but for my game room, it works just fine. And like I said, I love the fan. I got this clock at the thrift store, and I love clocks. Obviously, I have 2 in here, but I just love this one because it reads you the time every 5 minutes. One of my favorite additions to my board game room is this book nook. I got it for Christmas last year, and I loved putting it together. You'll see it did have a bookshop and a coffee shop, and I changed the coffee shop to the board game cafe, and I added a bunch of board game stuff in here, like the sign, and on the table is Love Letters is being played, and in the window you'll see patchwork. Yeah, I just love this so much. That is my Sunshine Town book nook. So this is my game table. When we play big games, we go out to my front room. I have a table out there from IKEA that expands to any size. Yeah, it's amazing. So we'll go out there for bigger games. For in here, we'll just play smaller games, like card games or solo games. I got this play mat. It's a D&D Snow Arctic play mat or something, but I thought it matched my room pretty well. This comes off. My husband made this. It's super light to reveal my crokinole board. We love crokinole. The kids play it all the time. The adults come over and we'll have little tournaments. It has cup holders for your drinks. And it also has these score keepers. So you can keep score and for the different teams. So I have 2 of those. There's one on that side. And then also a place to put your 20s when you get 20 points. And yeah, I love this so much. It was a big dining table that somebody put outside, and I was like, can we get that for my crokinole table? So my husband reworked it, put the cup holders in, and yeah, we use this all the time. And I don't like to move my crokinole board because it's so expensive, so it always just stays right here.
And now here is a look at all of my games.
I don't have a lot of heavy board games like Ark Nova or Gloomhaven. Those you won't find in my collection. I like lighter games under an hour or sometimes an hour and a half, depending. So here we go. First, we have Euro Other games. These are games that don't fit in a category or only have 1 or 2 of games in that category. So they're just in the other section. But we have the Century Golem edition of Century. I have Eastern Mountains, and I have just the regular one, which signed by Emerson. I love this edition. I still need to get the 3rd game in the series, but yeah, I love those. Istanbul, where you're traveling around Istanbul, trying to get gems. If you get a certain amount of gems, you win. Spiele des Jahres, the big award. All right, here's our 3 Catans. Yes, we have to have 3. My favorite is the Settlers of Zarahemla, which is kind of the Book of Mormon version. Instead of a regular robber, they have the Gadianton robber. They have temple building, but my favorite part of it is they have the score track around. So I like that version. It's mostly exactly the same as Settlers with those changes, but my husband loves Seafarers, so we have to keep those 2. So yeah, 3 Catans. All right, Honga, a family style, really fun kind of action selection game. Love Honga. And yes, I have 3 Seven Wonders games. They all have different purposes though. This is the Seven Wonders Architects, which is the kind of family friendly Seven Wonders, but you can play with 7 players still. So yeah, I'll show you the other 2 when we get to them. Takenoko, a really fun game where you have the gardener, you're trying to build bamboo, and the panda's trying to eat the bamboo, and it's one of my son's favorite, right, Tyler? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he loves that. Potion Explosion, it's sort of like a little bit like one of those video games, yeah, gem matching games, but it's with marbles. The marbles come down and you try and find them. Yeah, it's a really fun game, Potion Explosion. Super, pretty easy too. Then, do you love Star Trek? If you do, you should get Starship Captains because you have your own Enterprise. You're traveling through space. Oh, I love this game. Starship Captains. Or if you like the Wild West, Dice Town. You're trying to roll to get the best hand of dice. Yeah, you're going to the saloon or the bank or the sheriff's office and going to buy land. Yeah, super fun Dice Town. We just got this Wandering Towers. It was the hot game at the convention I just went to, and I love it so much. You're moving towers around and trying to capture other wizards and trying to get into the Raven's Keep. Amazing Wandering Towers. I'm not sure why we keep this game Turia. It's sort of a cheesy game, but my husband and I play it and we love it so much. At the end, it's just total 100% luck. But the point of traveling around, I don't know. It's just really fun play, and yeah. So I'm not getting rid of it because I love it. That's Toria, trying to impress the Prince and the Princess. Here's Tobago, and it's really hard to find. I got it at a board game convention for $20, and I carried it around, and everybody was just like, "Where'd you get that?" Because it's out of print. So if you can find it, get it. It's so fun trying to discover treasures, and the play of it is just so amazing. And that is Tobago. I love the theme here of Colt Express. You are train robbers, you're robbing a train, and they have an actual train in the game, and you're going up and down in the train trying to steal the loot and trying not to get caught by the sheriff. And it's a programming game, so you could choose to go up and down and shoot, but your gameplay might change depending on how it goes. And I love the higher play count. It's 6 players. So yeah, it's a really great game for 6 players with the Western theme. All right, in Picture Perfect, you are a photographer, and everyone wants to be in a certain spot in the picture. And so you are trying your best to make a board that has everybody as happy as they can be. And so at the end of the game, everybody takes a picture and scores points depending on how pleased the people in your picture are. I just love the theme of it. It's just so different. Picture Perfect. And of course, my favorite theme, obsession, pride, intrigue, and prejudice in Victorian England. In this game, you are a family, you have a estate, and you're planning parties and all kinds of events and trying to get as much prestige as you can to lure the Fairchilds to your place. Yeah, amazing theme, obsession. Here's a super easy game, Her Story, and it has a history of a bunch of women. And yeah, it's a super easy game. I like the theme. I was thinking of making my own cards with like my great grandma on there, and I just think it would be cool, but I can't seem to find sleeves that are the right size for this game, so someday that'll happen. Now we are on to worker and dice placement games. In Alien Frontiers, you are building up your planets. You are rolling dice, and however the dice turn out is where you can go. Like if you do a run, you can go to this spot. If you roll 6s, you can go to a different spot. And yeah, you're trying to build colonies out. Yeah, it's just such a fun game. I love rolling dice. Also dice placement in Rajas of the Ganges, where you're making buildings or going up the river, all kinds of things with dice. Love it. Rajas of the Ganges. Raiders of the North Sea. In this game, you're building up your crew and you're going to raid. And yeah, it's a worker placement where you're going out, raiding farther and farther and trying to get as much points as you can. Raiders of the North Sea. And when we talk about worker placement and dice placement, this is one of the old classic worker placement games where you're putting workers out. However many workers you put out in that spot is how many dice you get to roll to see how much power you can have in that spot. And I love that about this game, the dice rolling and the worker placement. And that is Stone Age. All right, Outlive. I love the theme of this. It's the post-apocalyptic times, and your clan is trying to go out and get the best stuff that they can, battling animals and other clans, and yeah, I just love it. Outlive. In Coal Baron, we just got this, and this is an older version. I think they're just coming out with a new version, which I don't really like it as much. It does have the meeples and everything, but I just like how the round tracker is in this one. But yeah, in Coal Baron, you're a coal baron, and you're mining coal and putting your workers out to fill orders. Yeah, we've had some real fun with this lately, Coal Baron. All right, Dungeons and Dragons fans, or not. I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons fan, but I still love Lords of Waterdeep. It's a Dungeons and Dragons theme, but it's 100% Euro game where you're going out, completing missions. Lords of Waterdeep. Okay, Lost Ruins of Arnak. If you want to go adventuring, this is the game to get. Go out, adventure, find creatures, or go up the track and learn as much as you can. I just love the adventure of Lost Ruins of Arnak. It's a worker placement, but it's also a deck building. and engine building and all that stuff rolled into one. Lost Ruins of Arnak. Do you like wine? Well, I don't drink wine, but I like making it in viticulture. In this game, you are planting vineyards, then getting your grapes and crushing grapes and making wine and filling out orders. Viticulture, super fun theme. I like it with less players because I think it's too long after 3 players, and yeah, that's viticulture. All right, Chimera Station. You are building up a space station using these creatures that you can build. And when you add on different parts, your worker that you send out does different things. So gives you different powers, and your workers build up, and you put them out in the station. Yeah, and it's super fun. Chimera Station. Now we're on to some engine building games. This is where your game just gets stronger and stronger and stronger as you go. So the first is Underwater Cities. This is probably one of the heaviest games I have. My husband and I just got it, and we played it recently, and we really loved it. And in this game, you're building an underwater city, and you're building it the best you can. A little bit of worker placement, but also, just building up your engine and making your city better and better. Then we have Space Base, and in Space Base is fun because every time someone has a turn, they roll the dice and everyone gets to use the dice. And kind of like Machikuro, which I don't have here. That's a little bit of a simpler version that my son has, but Space Base. I like that you're building up your base and making it stronger and stronger. All right, Everdale Far Shore. I did have Everdale. There was a few things I didn't like about it, like the goals on the trees. We never did them, and yeah, it was just a little too fidgety, I thought. Whereas Far Shore, totally better game for me. It's the shore theme, and you're making your city and building it up stronger and stronger. And yeah, I love Far Shore, and I love all the components in it. They have these little shells and anchors, metal anchors, and little boats that your animals go in. Amazing. Wingspan, I'm sort of speechless. I love Wingspan so much, where you're building out your habitat, where the birds can come, and I just love birds, and I love Wingspan. Not much to say about it because it's such an amazing game. This is a newer game in my collection, Revive. You're coming out of the ice, and you're discovering a new world, and such a fun game. That is Revive. Here's Res Arcana. Tom Lehman did this, and I didn't like it that much at the start because you only get like 8 cards for your whole game. But then I realized that it's so fun to try and figure out how to work those cards to your advantage. So fun. Res Arcana. All right. In Wonderful World, you have a company, and you're trying to build it the best that you can. As you build out your city, it's just getting better and better. It's a wonderful world. I've never played Terraforming Mars. I know it's a lot of people's favorite, but it seemed a little heavy for me. But when the Ares Expedition version came out, yes, I love it. It's still a little long for us. My husband and I play, it says 60 minutes, but it's more like 2 hours for us. I'm not sure why. But we do love Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. And here's a super light engine building game. My Farm Shop. Somebody rolls the dice like Space Base, and everybody gets a reward. And yeah, you're just trying to build up your farm. Here's a little game, Villages of Valeria. It's a super small, pretty easy game. While you're building up your village. All right, let's talk about co-op games. These are games where everybody works together. Everybody either wins or loses. So, of course, we got to talk about the ultimate of all co-op games, Pandemic. It was like the first big, huge co-op game where you're going around the world and trying to cure 4 pandemics. Amazing. I haven't played this version of Pandemic. It's Hot Zone. I thought the rules would be a little easier, but they're not. They're kind of the same rules, but it's just a shorter game. You only have to get 3 pandemics, and the world is a lot smaller. It's just North America, so it's a shorter game, but kind of the same rules. All right, here is Burgle Brothers. So fun. You're breaking into a building and you're going and stealing a bunch of stuff and trying not to get caught by the police who are always going around. And you're trying to decide, should I go to the next level or the next level, because you have to get through 3 levels to get to the helicopter pad. And you're all working together, and that is Burgle Brothers. Next is Forbidden Desert. There's Forbidden Forest and Forbidden, I don't know, a few others now. And Thirst for Survive. In Forbidden Desert, your ship has crashed and you got to go find all the parts for your ship and get out of the desert. And yeah, I like this version, but except for the tin, I don't like tins. Okay, Atlantis Rising. You are in Atlantis and you're trying to get out before it sinks into the ocean. So you got to all work together, go around and get all the stuff you need to build the ship to escape Atlantis Rising. All right, we just got the loop. Dr. Foe strikes back. Dr. Foe is going around to all the different time areas and making duplications of himself, and you got to shut him down. So you guys are traveling through time and trying to stop Dr. Foe, but unfortunately we can't seem to win this game. We played it 3 times and we've lost. So we're going to keep trying though. It's really fun. All right. Horrified, kind of similar to Pandemic in the play of it, but the thing about Horrified is every time you play, you have different monsters you're battling, and you have to do different things to get those monsters. So for example, if you're playing Frankenstein, you have to get him together with his bride. And yeah, there's a bunch of different monsters, and you usually play with 2 or 3, but every time is different monsters, which makes it really fun. And that's Horrified. There's a bunch of different versions of this now, but I just have the original. All right, Castle Panic. It has a castle in it, and all these orcs and monsters are trying to defeat the castle, and you're trying to get your heroes to save the castle. If you can save the castle in Castle Panic, you win. So yeah, you're all working together to try and save the castle. Over here I have my cartographer pencils. My friend gave me some pencils. I put some erasers in there to play cartographers, because you can't play cartographers without colored pencils, I don't think. I've tried it, but it's not as fun. I also have some characters here from The Grizzled. I love them so much. It's World War I guys. And here is The Grizzled. It's a co-op game of World War I that is really hard to win, but really fun. That's The Grizzled. And our last co-op game, which is actually a co-op real-time games, we're going to be talking about real-time games next, is Magic Maze. And in this game, you're going into the mall with everybody, and you're trying to steal stuff and get out with Vikings and all kinds of magical creatures. And the hard part of this game is you can't talk. And so, yeah, it's a little crazy because you want somebody to do something and they're not doing it. And I also like in this game that you can start with a super easy game and it can get harder and harder, or you could just play what level you want. That's Magic Maze. Cooperative real-time game. Now let's talk about real-time games, which are games that don't have turns. The first one is old classic Pit, and here we are to the tins. Pit, where you're yelling at everybody, trying to get the cards you need and trying to corner the market. So next is Stellar Conflict, and in this game, everybody's putting out their ships as fast as they can, and then after everybody puts their ships out, then you battle. And a super fun, easy little game. Oh, my favorite real-time game though, Fuse. You have a certain amount of bombs you're trying to defuse. You have 10 minutes to do it. So yeah, roll the dice, try and defuse those bombs, 10 minutes, and you win. We've played that a lot. You can tell it's pretty thrashed. I want to get the new version. one of these days. All right, Flash 8 is one of those games, you know the slide puzzles we used to have where you slide around your stuff and you're trying to complete cards faster than your opponent. When you complete the card, you get it. It's a super fast, easy, real-time game. Flash 8. Now we are on to abstract strategy games. These are games like chess and checkers, sort of abstract, but really fun and super strategic. Some of these are easier than others. We have War Chest, which is kind of like a chess style game. It's 2-player usually, but you can play 4-player teams. And each player has different tiles which have different powers. And it's not that hard of a game. It's super easy to learn, but it's just super strategic how you're going to move your pieces around, what pieces you're going to add to the board. War Chest. All right, Framework. By the same designer as Patchwork, which I love, Uwe Rosenberg. This game, so fun. We've been playing it so much, where you're trying to link frames together and you score points if you link the right frames together, and whoever gets rid of all their tiles wins. And super, super easy. And yeah, I've been teaching this so much lately. Next, we've got Project L. These pieces are so satisfying. They remind me of chiclets, if you know what chiclets are. But you're going to take your Polyomino pieces and put them in these cards here and complete them. Yeah, super fun and relaxing. It probably should be in my Polyomino section, but I don't know. I just like it here in the abstract strategy. Okay, now we've got some beautiful games. Sagrada, where you're making a stained glass window by putting your dice in certain areas and scoring points depending on what dice you put where. Yeah, really fun. Sagrada. Azul, also so beautiful, where you're placing tiles, trying to score the most points on your board. I do love this game, but there is one issue I have with it, and that is that you can get totally lucky and get stuck with a bunch of tiles that just give you negative points, and it's just usually bad luck, and I just don't like that about this game. So it would be higher on my ratings if it didn't have that, but yeah, Azul. All right, Santorini. I think it's you can play with more than 2 players, but I think it's fun with 2 players where you're trying to get your guys to the top of the buildings. And yeah, super strategy, and you can have different powers too, different player powers, and that is Santorini. All right, now we're to our roll, flip, and write games. Roll and write and flip and write. Welcome to, it's a flip and write game where you're going to make your own neighborhood and try and get as many points as you can by flipping cards over and choosing what cards you want to use. Super Mega Lucky Box, sort of a bingo style game with a little more fun to it than bingo. That's also a flip and write. We play this a lot. Yeah, Super Mega Lucky Box. Bingo, but better. No Kamal. There's an English name to this. I'm not sure what it is. This is the German name. Just a fun game where you're rolling dice and filling in the boxes the best you can. Cartographers. So in Cartographers, you are a cartographer and you're planning out the northern lands. And yeah, I really love it. For sure, you need the colored pencils, like I mentioned before, but really fun. Quicks is another one, sort of like Nokamal, where you're trying to roll dice and fill in the right spots. On Tour is a flip and write where you're going on tour with your band and you're taking them all across the country, trying to make the best tour you can. Our last roll and write is Gaunt, Sure, and Clever. There's an English name for that too. As you can tell, ours is so used up. I've laminated the things and we play it all the time. It's my favorite roll and write. Rolling the dice and try and fill in the boxes the best you can. Gaunt, Sure, and Clever, or That's So Clever, or Pretty Clever. I don't know. All right, I've got about a bunch of unlock and exit games we haven't played yet. They're a one-time play game. So the exit games are kind of get ruined. So once you play them, you can just put them in the trash. The unlock games you can replay, just so you can give them to somebody when you're done. So obviously those haven't been played. That's why they're still here. Happy Salmon, so fun, real-time game. You stand at the table and try and get rid of your cards. A lot of yelling and screaming in that game. There's a Bluefish too, which I really want to get. My Bank Box. Banks is actually an app that you can get, and you can just use 2 dice and pass them around. But when I play, I want to give everybody their own color of 2 dice. So I have a bank box that I get out these dice whenever we play bank. It's a total pressure luck game, so look that up on the app. It's free. You have some dice. So now we're to the social deduction games, my least favorite kind of games. But my kids love them, and my ladies' game night loves them. Yeah, here's One Night Werewolf. It's like Werewolf, but there's a bunch of different characters in it that makes it really fun. Dawn or Dinner Party, another social deduction game. My brother Jared got this for me. A rowdy game of frontier cannibalism. Bang the Dice game is probably my favorite social deduction game. You're rolling dice or trying to figure out who all the characters are. My son's favorite, Secret Hitler. Why do you like it?
It's just a good social deduction game. It's like pretty simple, easy.
Isn't there 2 different teams? You're the ally.
There's 2 different teams. There's the liberals and then the fascists, and somebody's Hitler and the fascist. It's really easy to pick up the game and figure out how to convince other people that you're the good guy.
And that's Secret Hitler and social deduction games. All right, here's cards that are co-op games that you're going to work together. The first one's Nairobi. It's kind of fun because you're trying to get all the cards in order, and there's different powers on the cards. But Okie Dokie, it's kind of a musical theme, but you're trying to get all your cards in order. The Crew is a trick-taking game where you're trying to get a certain person to win certain cards. I've got Mission Deep Sea and the Quest for Planet 9's the original, and then the Mission for Deep Sea. I think I got it at the thrift store. So we've made it through 4 or 5 rounds. I really want to play it more though. And our last co-op game that's probably been played the most of any, you could tell it's thrashed, is The Mind, where you got to read each other's minds. Super easy, but amazing game. Here's some other card games. Point Salad, such an easy but strategic game. They just came out with Point City, which I'm dying to try. Fantasy Realms. We love this game. My son-in-law always tries to win. He's got the reigning score on that. Loves that game. All right, we have a little kids game, card game, Sleeping Queens, Canasta, that I play with my sisters. Coloretto, the meanest of all the card games I have. It's so mean, but it's really fun set collection kind of game. Similo is a deduction game where you're trying to figure out who the person is. There's all kinds of versions too. This is the history. They have just all kinds of different versions of it. 5 Crowns. I play this a lot with my best friend. It's a nice game for just relaxing and being able to talk and play at the same time. No Thanks. Kind of pressure luck a little bit, but all kinds of strategy in that game. And then Rook, my favorite trick-taking game to play with my family. We play a lot of Rook. My favorite card game of all time is Love Letter. There's 16 cards in Love Letter and so much strategy and so much fun. The Council of Verona, kind of similar to Love Letter, but the Shakespeare version. And a new game we've been playing all the time is Splitto. Share everything but the victory. I love it because it's a high player count. And yeah, it's really fun. Okay, some bigger box card games. Fabled Fruit. You're making fruit juice. And there's a bunch of decks. As soon as you get rid of one pile, you put in the next pile and see more different cards. And they just keep adding and adding. Yeah, it's kind of like a legacy campaign style game. Cribbage, an old classic. Tiki Topple. This is such a mean game, but we have so much fun playing it. Trying to get your tikis to the top. Tiki Topple. Okay, we've got Racco, Skip-Bo. Elevator was a game I kind of worked on and tried to design and put on Kickstarter, but it didn't really work. But yeah. And then our last card game I have is That's Not a Hat. And just got this, and I don't really like it because it's a real memory game, and I'm bad at memory, but it is funny, super funny to play. We're on to kids games, but I did forget this one card game, Arboretum. Another kind of mean card game, but it's fun. Arboretum, it's so pretty too. Okay, now on to the kids games. We've got My First Stone Age. You saw Stone Age over there, but this is My First Stone Age, which is for younger kids. Catan Junior, which is Catan for the younger kids. Probably our favorite kids teen game, Geister, Schatzsuchmeister. I think it's called Ghost Fightin' Treasure Hunters in English. I got it before it came out in English, so I have the German version. I speak German, so it's convenient. Oceanos, where you're building your ships down in the ocean. Yeah, super fun. Quirky Circuits, where you're trying to program where the cat goes in the room and make sure they pick up the stuff they need to pick up. We've got Looney Quest and Side Quest. Looney Quest is super fun because you're trying to get through this maze, but you can't actually write on the paper, and then you set it on top and see if you actually got it. Yeah, it's kind of fun. And then Slide Quest is sort of a dexterity game where you're trying to get this marble guy through without making him fall down the holes. So that's fun too. And last defense, you have 20 minutes to save the city from the monsters coming in. So we've got some terrible tins. That's what I call them, terrible tins that doesn't even close. Card line, where you're trying to put the animals in order of weight or how long they live. Get Bit. You're trying to escape the shark, and he's pulling off body parts. Yeah, the boys like that. Try and survive longer than everybody else. Slap It is a speed game. You're trying to slap as fast as you can the right cards. Backyard Builder's Treehouse. You're building up the treehouse and getting the most points you can building your treehouse. Outfox. You're trying to find out which fox stole the pie. Fairy Tale. This is so fun. You're trying to complete a story by like having the dragon fight the prince at a certain place and try and get rid of all your cards by completing the stories. Zombie Kids, we haven't played this yet, but it's basically zombies are attacking the town and you're trying to defeat them, and it's sort of a little bit of a legacy game where it gets harder and harder as you play. Yummy, yummy monster tummy. In this, you're using an app and you're trying to match the color to make the monster. And if you make the monster color, then the monster's happy. The Mysterious Forest, you've got a backpack and you need to store all the stuff in your backpack in order to complete the quest. Mysterious Forest, isn't it so pretty? All right, we've got a few games up here. We've got Catchphrase Junior. And we've got Spot It. Creature Comforts. It's kind of a heavy game for kids, but the theme of it is so wonderful, where you're trying to get the best comfort you can to store up for the winter. And I just love the art of it. Creature Comforts. Okay, we've got Summer Camp. It's a deck building game for kids, and it's fun because you use different decks. Like you can pick, we're going to do snacks and we're going to do camping and stuff, and so you can do different activities every time you play, which is really fun. We have Guess Who, the old classic. My First Castle Panic. It's for ages 4 and up, so it's Castle Panic, the kids version. Super easy for them to learn their colors. They don't have to be able to read. Same with Turtle Splash. This is so cute. It has this pull, you flick the turtle down, and depending where it lands is what you can turn over and try and move along your tracks. It's super easy, but introduces a lot of board game mechanics in it, which I think is great. And then Dungeon Academy. You are fighting to try and get through your dungeon the best you can, kind of roll and write a little bit, like you're writing on your dungeon and trying to get through the path that can get through it. Oh yeah, it's really fun. We've got Medieval Academy. It's a card drafting game where you're trying to give alms to the poor, defeat the dragon, do the jousting, all kinds of fun Medieval Academy stuff. Super light drafting game. Goblet Gobblers, it's like tic-tac-toe extreme. It's because you can cover other people's stuff. Super fun. In Dinosaur Escape, it's a really young kids game where you're trying to escape before the volcano erupts. Up the River, it's an old game where you're trying to move your boat along as fast as you can. Of course, we have 2 labyrinths. We love Labyrinth here. There's a million different versions of Labyrinth. And I think I just have regular glow-in-the-dark version, and then my son's Pokemon version, gotta catch them all. And then our last kids game is Pete the Pirate, an old Haba game about pirates. And those are our kids games. All right, our last shelf. I've already talked about the game of the week. Archaeo Society is like a set collection game. And I just got it. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it. The tracks don't seem to give you as many points as just the set collection part, so I don't know. But I'm going to try to play it a few more times to see if I really like it. Up here are some of our big games, and, well, Canvas is up here because it's just too beautiful to put on a shelf. But we have the Reckoners. In the Reckoners, the people with superpowers are evil, and so the regular humans are trying to discover all the weaknesses of the ones with the superpowers, and you have to destroy Steelheart. It's an amazing game. Champions of Midgard. Oh yeah, you're Vikings, and you're going out and defeating monsters and trying to protect Midgard, your hometown, from all the monsters and things. Really fun. Onitama, if you love chess, you'll love Onitama. It's like a 10-minute chess game. Really fun. In Canvas, you are making paintings, trying to make the best paintings that you can. You're sliding paint cards into the sleeve and making a painting, and yeah, it's really fun. Pretty easy game. Burgundy, I'm not going to get down. The Castles of Burgundy. This is the special edition. It has all the extras, but we love Castles of Burgundy, and it's gone way up on my rankings ever since I got the beautiful version, because the original version was super ugly. I don't know, it just makes a difference. Of course, my favorite game is Dominion, and here I have, I think, 4 expansions, and have them organized in this amazing box. And I organize the cards so that they're in the cost order and not necessarily in the expansion order, because I like picking a certain amount of 3 coin costs, 4 coin costs, etc. So yeah, that's my Dominion box. Now we are on to deck, dice, and bag building. I forgot to add bags on there, but I will. Deck, dice, and bag building. Quacks, of course, is one of the most popular bag building games. Everyone I teach it to buys it. It's so fun. And press your luck. Improve your bag by adding stuff to it. Aquatica is a deck building game where you're going down into the deeps and discovering cities and getting new characters. It's really beautiful. Clank Catacombs. I always liked Clank, but it was never my favorite game. But now I love it so much because in Catacombs, you actually change the board and you're exploring through the tomb. Yeah, I love Clank Catacombs. Much better than Clank. Mystic Vale is a press your luck game where you're building up your cards to improve your cards by sliding them into the sleeves. And look at the art on that, really amazing. The Taverns of Tiefenthal. tall. It is the sequel to Quacks. It's a little more complex, I think, than Quacks, and a totally different theme where you're running a tavern, but really fun. Orleans is one of our favorite bag building games. You are getting characters into your bag and putting your characters out to work for you, and it's so fun to decide where your characters are going to go, and that's Orleans. And a dice building game, Dice Forge, where you're actually forging dice. The face of the dice come off, and you can change the dice to make them better dice, and that's just such a fun concept, and the artwork is really amazing in that. All right, this is the shelf too big for other shelves. They either go here or up here. Can't Stop. I have the old Parker Brothers version. I got it at the thrift store. But you can get this new. It's the ultimate push your luck. If you love push your luck games, this is one to get. I have Concordia and Concordia Venus, which is the expansion. Just a really amazing game where you're playing cards to do your actions. And then you pick up all your cards and to do all the actions again. And yeah, exploring Italy or different countries depending on what map you use. Fireball Island, The Curse of Volcar. So fun, 3D island where you're putting marbles down, trying not to get hit by them, trying to escape. Love that Fireball Island. Pandemic Legacy, I haven't played yet. I'm waiting for my son to move back. But I got it at the thrift store for like $3 unopened. Yeah, that was my most amazing thrift store find. And we haven't played it yet, but I just can't wait. And in Pandemic Legacy, it's a legacy game, so it keeps on evolving at each game you play. All right, on to our Polyomino games. These are games that have Tetris-type shapes. Another kind of legacy campaign game like Pandemic. My City is also a legacy game, but much simpler, where you're laying down tiles and building a city, and each time you play, the rules change. Scarabia, or Scarabia, or Scarabia, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's a super easy game where you're trying to catch the scarabs, and I love it because of the different terrain you can do, sea or ice or jungle or desert. And a super, super easy game. Okay, 10 Penny Parks. You're using the polyomino shapes to build your amusement park, and the shapes have different attractions on them. Love that. Rebuilding Seattle. Seattle was burnt down in a great fire in the 1800s, and you're rebuilding it up using polyomino shapes. There's a mechanic I really like in this game where there's 6 cards, and whenever you want, you can flip one over. And it does something, and then once they're all flipped over, the round ends, so it could be a really quick round or a really long round. That's what I really love about this game. Okay, in the Isle of Cats, you are rescuing cats from a boat, and I really love the inside cover of this. Read it, Tyler.
Cat setup. If you have a pet cat, you should place it here while playing the Isle of Cats.
It's so fun. The whole idea of it is fun, where you each have a boat and you're filling it with cats. Our latest polyomino game that we've been playing weekly at least is Planet Unknown. I took it to my ladies' game night. You're building up a planet, and they loved it, and it's light enough just to teach to anyone. But it looks kind of complex, but it's not. Just a really amazing planet building game with polyomino shapes. And that is Planet Unknown. All right, we're on to our party games. We'll go ahead and start with party games other. These are the ones that don't fit in those categories. So Wavelength. We love Wavelength. The only thing is, it seems like every time I teach it, half the people really understand it and the other half don't. So I don't know. Some people really love it and I really love it, but then other people just, I don't know, can't grasp it. So I don't know. Love that game though. I have a few games in tins. Yuck. Roll for It, a super easy dice rolling game. It's no strategy really, and I wouldn't get it, the regular one. If you can find the one for up to 8 players, it's worth getting because you can play in big groups. Super easy, light game. But yeah, that's Roll for It. Then we have Trophies, and in this game you are holding up a card with a letter and reading the back of a card, And it might be like food that starts with T, and whoever yells one first, like tomatoes, gets the card. Super easy kind of party. Then we have Cash and Guns. This is a really light game, up to 8 players, and the great part about it is it has real guns. Well, not real guns. Styrofoam guns in it, and when you say go, everybody points a gun at a person, and you're trying to steal stuff, artwork, and all kinds of stuff. Just a super fun party game, Cash and Guns. This is the 2nd edition. Next is Green Team Wins, up to 12 players. Everybody's trying to guess the same answer, and if you guess the majority, you're on the green team. And if you're not, you're on the orange team, and you always want to be on the green team. Every time you're on the green team, you get more and more points. Green team wins. Really fun. Then we have Hitster. If you like music, you'll love Hitster. You scan the QR code and it plays a song, and you have to guess kind of when it came out. And if you get 10 of them in order, your team wins. Hitster. Then we have Strike, another dice rolling game, 100% luck. Dice chucking, just throw the dice and see if you can win. Strike. Then we have Concept. I love this game. You have this board and you get a word, and you have to put these tokens around the board to try and get people to guess it. The problem with this game is the rules. The rules are super lame. So we always make up our own rules, but it's worth getting just because the play of it is so amazing. How you can put these tokens on and get people to guess the clues. It's just amazing. All right. 2 more games that are part of a series is Fun Facts, Just One, and So Clover, which I don't have. My son took it with him to Australia. In Fun Facts, you'll get asked a question like, how many hobbies do you have? And you'll secretly write it down. And then as a team, you'll try and put everybody's names in order, lowest to highest. Really fun and a great getting to know you kind of game. Just One, another party game. You're trying to get someone to guess a word. So everybody puts a word down, but if they're the same, you have to erase them. Of this series, I like So Clover the best. It's sort of like a Codenames, try and get people to guess. Amazing game. Amazing. Fun Facts is my 2nd favorite. Just One, I'm not a fan of. Everybody else likes it the best, but yeah, I think Clover is the best of the 3. All right, like Apples to Apples, but better. I played Whoonu for a few years before I played Apples to Apples, and when I played Apples to Apples, I'm like, why would you play this when you could play Whoonu? So every game I played since, I'm like, I just don't like Apples to Apples. So here we go, like Apples to Apples, but better. Snake Oil. I have laughed more in this game than any other game. It's so hilarious. At 1 o'clock in the morning, you're tired, you're laughing, the game to pull out. One person would be like a caveman, and you're trying to sell him things from the cards you have. It's fun doing sales pitches that late at night. So funny. This is the game Dixit. Such beautiful art. You'll have cards. You'll give out some kind of sentence or word, a description of your card, and then everyone else will try to find a card like that. Hopefully some people guess yours and some people guess another one, because that's how you get the most points. Whoonu is out of print. It's one of my favorite party games where you kind of get to know everybody at the table. Look in the description below, because I've got a printable version of this since it's not available anymore. Hopefully you can find it at the thrift store with the tokens and everything, but I've updated all the cards, even made more cards for it. So you can just print this out and play it. It's such a fun party game, Whoonu. So here are the word games, and they're mostly party games as well. Word Slam is my favorite party game of all, where you have 2 teams and you're trying to get your team to guess a word, but you only have certain cards to describe the word. Super fun Word Slam. Got an old classic word game, Probe, which is just like Hangman. So everybody has one of these and you're trying to guess a word. Codenames. Most of you probably know this, where you're trying to get your team to guess words. You only have 1 word to describe as many words as you can. Codenames. I have Boggle, the old classic, and Scrabble Twist, which is fun to play like in the car or something. Here's Paperback, which is sort of Dominion word style. You have a bunch of cards with letters and you make a word out of those cards. And with that word, you can buy better cards, better letters. So you can try and get more points. And that is paperback. And our last word game is Word on the Street. They have a new version of this, but in this game, you have a bunch of letters and you're trying to get words that bring the letters over to your side. Whoever gets 5 letters on their side, their team wins. And that is a Word on the Street. Okay, we've got party games, act and draw. I don't have any drawing ones right now, but I've got some acting ones. Reverse charades. Instead of one person acting it out, the whole team acts it out except for one. So if it's like touchdown, the whole team pretends like they're playing a football game. Yeah, reverse charades. We play that a lot at the holidays. Time's up. You take 20 cards or so, and the first round you give a sentence just to describe that word, and then the next round you just say one word to describe the cards, and then the last round you act out the cards. It's so fun because you use the same cards over and over, so everybody knows the cards, but you still have to try and get your team to guess it. Gestures, an old classic where you're trying to act out words before they disappear into the machine. It's always fun. All right, here are some deduction games. The first one is Secret Identity. Everybody has an identity like Mickey Mouse or Darth Vader or Joan of Arc, and you have to use these cards to try and get everybody to guess who you are. The next one we have is Turing Machine, where you're trying to figure out a code. It can be played in a group, but to me it's more fun solo, or for a while there I was getting out every morning and doing the daily puzzle, and they have that online and figuring it out, and my daughter would do it with me. Super fun Turing Machine. In Micro Macro Crime City, there's this huge paper opens up and you're trying to find the crimes in the city. It's really fun, except we were playing it at the cabin and there was like a naked lady in there. So I think I need to go edit that out. It's mostly, I thought it was pretty family friendly till then. Decorum, a game of passive aggressive cohabitation. This game's so fun because you're trying to figure out with your roommate how they want the house, but you have certain rules that you want the house, and you guys have to figure it out without talking to each other about it. It's really amazing. In the search for Planet X, that's what you're doing, searching for Planet X. And you have to eliminate all the other areas, and hopefully you can find Planet X first. Okay, Detective Club. It kind of reminds me of Dixit with the cards, but it's a little more deducive in the gameplay. In this game, everybody has a clue except one person, and you don't know who that one person is, and you're trying to figure out who doesn't have the clue. And it's really fun to figure out, and that's Detective Club. In Grim Masquerade, you are a fairy tale creature, and everybody has to figure out who you are, and hopefully you can find your item before everybody figures it out, and then you can win. Okay, Stop Thief, the 1997 classic, fully restored and better than ever. In Stop Thief, the thief is going around town and you're trying to find them, and the app will give you clues to where they are. And if you find them, you get the reward, and whoever gets the most reward money wins the game. Love Stop Thief. All right, Nuns on the Run is a hidden movement game. There's 2 nuns that are going around the abbey, and the students are escaping their rooms and trying to find cake and all kinds of other things and trying not to get cut by the nuns. And if a student gets back to their room, gets their stuff and gets back to the room, they win. It's my only hidden movement game, and I'd really like to get more, but some of them just seem so complex. All right, set collection games. First, we have Nidavellir. If you're a fan of the Avengers, you might know what Nidavellir is, because Thor goes to Nidavellir to fix his hammer. But it's a world of giant dwarves. In this game, you're trying to recruit warriors to go defeat the dragon, and hopefully you'll get the best group of warriors and win. Then we have the classic Ticket to Ride. Over 1 million sold. I think now it says over 10 million sold when I was looking at the store the other day. But Ticket to Ride, you're collecting sets so you can build train tracks. It's family-friendly train game. And those are the set collection games I have. Now on to two-player only games. These are games for only 2 players. Curie Duel is a little battle game where you're battling for position in a little duel, a super quick but fun battle game. Curie the Duel. A game we've been playing a lot lately, Hanamakoji. In this game, you have a hand of cards and you can only do 4 actions to try and win the geishas over. And once those 4 actions are done, the game is over. And it's super quick, but so much strategy. Hanamakoji. As you can see, I have a lot of dual games. Takedo Duo. I used to have Takedo, but I got rid of it because it's 3 players and up. And I thought it was a little fiddly when you got to the markets, but Takedo Duo, I just love how fun it is for 2 players. Splendor Duel. I do have Splendor, and it should be in my engine building area over there, but my sister has it right now. But I think I like Splendor Duel better. If you're playing 2-player, play Splendor Duel. A little bit more strategy to it. The Fugitive. One person's the fugitive, and one is the investigator. The investigator's trying to find the fugitive, and by finding what cards they have. Really fun, easy 2-player. Blitzkrieg. World War II in 20 minutes, and it's true. World War II. One player's the Axis, one's the Allies, and you have to try and win the most battles. Blitzkrieg. 7 Wonders Duel. Like 7 Wonders, a lot more complex than 7 Wonders, but really a great game if you're playing 2-player. This is the game to play. 7 Wonders Duel. Patchwork is my favorite 2-player only game. It's a Polyomino game that is so much strategy, and you can tell ours is totally worn out from playing it so much. Patchwork, you're building a quilt and trying to do it the best you can. In Lost Cities, you're trying to lay sets down of cards, but there's a lot of push your luck in this game, and I just love the little strategies when you're out adventuring. Lost Cities. And then Kahuna, which I can't beat my husband at. It's just a little area control game. Okay, now onto the drafting games. I think all of mine are card drafting. First is Athenium Mystic Library, and I love this game so much because of the theme, but when you put a card down that you've gotten from your neighbor, you put it down and both your neighbors get something and then you get something. And I really like that about this game. But of course, you grab a bunch of cards from your neighbor, play one, and then pass it. But in this game, you're building a library. Okay, Notre Dame, you are building up your town in Notre Dame, and as you're drafting cards, you put a card down and then you put your token on the board. But if there's tokens already there, you get even more of that. For example, if you put a token on money, but you already have 3 tokens there, you'll get 4 money. So it's sort of like a little bit of engine building and drafting. I really love Notre Dame. All right, Sushi Go Party. This is where you're drafting cards from your neighbor, putting it down, and trying to get points from the sushi. I don't like the tin at all, but definitely get the party version. They have Sushi Go, I think, at Walmart and all those stores. But for sure you want the party version because it has interchangeable cards, so each game will be totally different. And then the ultimate 7 Wonders. My favorite of the 3 that I've shown you is the plain old 7 Wonders, which sort of got me into the gaming in the first place. Every time I teach this game, I make sure we play it twice because the first time is super confusing and the second time everybody understands it and it takes a half hour. So I love 7 Wonders. Make sure to play it twice if you learn it. Okay, now we're on to the dexterity games where you have to use your hands or flick something or build something. The first one is Funny Bones, and I got this at the thrift store, and I'm trying to look for another set because we always run out of cards. But basically, you take a card and you and your partner work together, and you have to put this between the ear bone, connect the ear bone to the elbow bone. So I'd have to put this on my elbow and then put it on somebody's ear. Super fun. You get 20 points for doing that, so you try and get as many points as you can with your partner. Funny Bones, a super fun kind of party game. Okay, next is Flip Ships. It can go this way or this way. Flip Ships. This one's kind of like Space Invaders, where a big mothership is coming down and all the ships are coming down, and you're flicking your ships up to try and destroy them and get them into the mothership. And that is Flip Ships. In Ice Cool, you're also flicking around penguins around the school, trying to collect as much fish as you can, flicking your penguins around, and the penguins are super fun to flick. Pitch car, I already talked about this a little, our pitch car championship that we have with our family, where you're flicking these cars around the track, and whoever gets around the track 3 times first wins. Bounce off, you are bouncing a ball to try and get in a certain pattern of whatever card you have. And our last dexterity is Snafu. I think it's called something else now, but it's a solo game where you're trying to get the marble around before the timer runs out, and then you can kind of try and beat the next person's time. Snafu, the maze game that runs you ragged. Okay, our last bottom row. We've got Bets and Bidding. Camel Up, this is the older version. I'm hoping to get the new version soon, where you're betting on camels going around a track. Equinox, such a beautiful game where you pick animals and you're trying to bet on which animal will survive, which of 3 animals. That's Equinox. Those are the Bets and Bidding games I have. All right, I've got 2 solo only games that you play solo. One is Pocket Landship. It looks like World War I tanks, but there's actually mechs also. And in this game, you're trying to defeat the mechs and the tanks that are coming at you with your weapons that you have. Under Falling Skies is a solo game similar to Flip Ships in that it's kind of like Space Invaders, where the big mothership's coming down and you're trying to defeat them with dice rolls. A really fun solo game, Under Falling Skies. Now we're on to our racing games. All right, El Dorado is a racing game where you're racing for El Dorado. And I love it because the maps are always changing how to get there. And it's a deck building game, so you're making your deck better to travel faster through all the different terrain. The quest for El Dorado. In Cubatosh, you're rolling your dice and trying to get as fast as you can around the track. And it's a dice building game, but your dice are getting better and giving you new powers and faster way to get around the track. In Luxor, you're racing through a tomb like Indiana Jones, fast as you can to get as much loot as you can, and that's Luxor. And here's Jamaica, a super family-friendly racing game where you're racing your ship around the island and picking up stuff as a pirate. Jamaica. In Cuba, you're racing as fast as you can to get to pyramids, and on your way collect jewels. I like this because everybody has the same tiles, and whatever tile someone grabs, that's the tile everybody uses. And so everybody has different strategies. Yeah, that's one thing I love about Karuba. And the last racing game I want to talk about is Survive. On Survive, you're on an island and you're trying to race all your people off the island as fast as you can. And hopefully they won't get attacked by sharks and their boats won't get tipped over by whales. But that is Survive, Escape from Atlantis. Our last little section here is the battle section. The first game, which we just got, is Last Light. One of the few games I have that I haven't played yet. Well, we started it, but we couldn't finish it because we had company come over. But excited to get into that a little bit more. Last Light. A battle, explore, 4X game in 1 hour. That's my kind of game. The next battle game is Fire Tower, Fight with Fire. You are trying to get the fire to attack your opponents before it attacks you. Fire Tower. Super easy, fun game. Okay, the Dice Hunters of Therion. I love playing this with my little nephews. They love rolling the dice and trying to beat the other person with the dice, and I just love the characters. Dice Hunters of Therion. Super light game that you can play with the kids. And the last, but definitely not least, is King of Tokyo, the ultimate battle game. And we've played this so many times over the years, where you're trying to battle the other monsters and try and take control of Tokyo and not die before the end of the game. And they just came out with a King of Tokyo duel I'm dying to get. So that's King of Tokyo.
All right, thanks for watching the tour of my game room. Check out our Amazon store in the link below for the way you can purchase a lot of this and to support our channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe.